All right, if you were here last year in 3rd or 4th grade, then you know what this is. If you were not here at our school or you're a current 3rd grader, then you are going to get to learn about this today. When you get this is first of all some plastic lacing, and what we're going to do is we're going to weave it to make a keychain. We're going to start with the basic, which is the box stitch, and then I will show you a few more complicated stitches that you might be interested in doing. Now when you get this, you're going to have a paper clip. This is actually a small paper clip. I'm going to give you a big paper clip. That makes it easier to hold on to. And then I will have already started yours for you, so yours will look like this. It will look like a checkerboard, depending on what colors you pick. Now the way that we do the stitch on this, or the weaving, is we're going to take one and we're going to go straight back over it. So we're going to go from the bottom right back over and leave it at the top to make a loop. Now we're going to take the one that was already at the top and we're going to go down and make a loop. Now I'm holding those so they don't get mixed up. So we've got 2 loops now. Do you see that? One, and then one in the front, one in the back, one in the front. And then I'm going to take this black. Now this one happens to be already at the top. So we're going to go over the first one, under the second one, and all the way out. And that is actually going to make a loop as well, just like that. And then we're going to take the one that was at the bottom. It is going to stay at the bottom. It's going to go over, under, stay at the bottom. And then I'm going to pull all of these tight at the same time. If you look at the side, you can see that the white all lines up. You can see that the black all lines up. So this is a good stitch. So I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to go make our loop, make our loop. It is a lot easier to make your loops go up and down and then do your weaving side to side. But if you find that a different way works for you, as long as it's actually holding, that's fine. You can do that. We're going to go over the first one, under the second one. This one was at the bottom, so we're going to stay at the bottom. This one is at the top, so we're going to go over, under, and we're going to stay at the top. So we've got our 4 loops. Now we're going to make it nice and tight. If you keep doing this, you will end up with a keychain that's going to be probably about this long. From your paper clip to the end, it'll be about this long. When you get close, so that you only have about this much left, so about the length of your finger, then you can come to me. I will help you tie it off. And if you're interested in doing another one, you can do another one. You can do another of the exact same so that it's just different colors, or you can try something a little bit more complicated. This is the basic stitch. Everybody has to learn this one first. In order to get more Rexlace, to do different colors or try something different, you have to complete this one first. You also need to make sure that you bring this with you to art class every time. If you don't bring this, you will be writing sentences. It's just the way it is. You have to keep up with your stuff, and you have to make sure you bring it back so that you can actually use it. All right, this is a little bit more complicated way of doing our Rexlace weaving. If you look, it doesn't look like a perfect square or 4 perfect squares anymore. That is because we are actually making it twist. All right, this makes it look pretty cool, especially depending on what kind of colors you use. It looks pretty awesome. Now, this is a lot like the first one in that we're still going to be making loops, and we're still going to be going over, under. We always, always, always go over first, under second. But this time, instead of going straight across like we did before when we were doing our box, we are going to go diagonal like that. We're going to go diagonal. So if it's at the top left, it's going to end at the bottom right. If it started at the bottom right, it's going to end at the top left. Make sure that these are still parallel to each other. I know this is a little bit difficult to see, but make sure they are still parallel. They should not be crossing over each other and becoming perpendicular to each other. They should still be parallel to each other. Now, this is a little bit different because we're going to go over under, but we're going to go diagonal. Again, if we go straight across, nothing's going to happen. We're not actually making any loops. So this is at the top. It's going to go over, under, and out at the bottom in order to make sure that it goes diagonal. This one is at the bottom, so it is going to go over, under, and it is going to go out at the top. Make sure that if you're lacing, your Rexlace gets twisted, that you flatten it out if you want it to lay nicely. Now we've got our loops, and we're going to tighten them down. Okay, just like that. Now it still kind of looks like a square, but you can see that the corners are not sharp anymore. They are a little bit rounded, and that's okay. That's what we want. So you can change whichever colors you're going to be making your first loops with, but you have to make sure that they are still going diagonal. Do you see how these are still going diagonal to each other? They're still parallel to each other. This is going to go over, under, out at the bottom. And this one is going to go over, under, out at the top. Oh, I got a twist in that one. I don't really want a twist in there, so I'm going to make sure I flatten it out, straighten it up. Now we've got our 4 loops, and we're going to pull it nice and tight. Again, make sure that you don't get something twisted. Now, if you look at this, you can see that we've already got a really cool twist going on. If you want to make this even more interesting, you can make it twist for a while and then make it go back to the box. So you can have a box and a twist in the same one. You can even make it twist one direction, do one box, and then make it twist a different direction. I will have all of my examples at my table for you to look at. There's lots of different ways that we can do this, but these are the 2 basic examples. We have a box, and then we have our twist. All right, we have our first slightly more complicated, and that is a double box. You can see that we've got red and black here, and we've got red and white here. I chose these colors so that it would be easy to see on this video. Now, this is just like a regular box, so we're going to make our loops just like we did before, going straight back over, making our loops, holding our extra. Now this again is exactly like the first box we did, except we are going to go over, under, over, under. Now I'm going to go over the first one, under the second one, over the third one, under the fourth one, which sometimes can be a little bit tricky. Now this one was at the bottom, so it is going to stay at the bottom. Remember, if we're doing a box, they go straight across. If we are doing something like a twist, then they're going to go opposite. But we're doing a box, so we're going to go over, under, just like that. And then we are going to pull all of our strings tight at the same time. There we go. We have a double box. So on the side, we will see black and white, and on the short side, we will see just the red. Okay, a double box. Again, I'm going to make my loops going straight across. They are all still going to be parallel to each other, but they are just going straight over where they already were. Now this one, again, the side is going to go over, under, over, under. This was at the top, so it is going to stay at the top. This one is at the bottom, so it will go over, under, and stay at the bottom. Just like that. Now it can be a little bit tricky to pull it nice and tight, but do the best that you can. It's okay if it's a little bit loose, but if it's really loose, if you can see big holes in here, it is not tight enough. And if you can see big holes, it's going to be super stretchy. You probably are not going to want that. So every now and then just kind of check your sides. Are we looking good? We looking good? Yep, we're good to go. So again, this is a double box. This is basically 2 boxes right beside each other. Okay. Another slightly more complicated stitch is to do a double twist. Now, if you did this last year, you might have done a double box or a double twist, and that's okay. You can do another one this year. These are more complicated though. We still have to stay, there we go. I was trying to make this so I can actually hold it. We still have to keep our loops parallel to each other, but if we're doing a double twist, we are not going straight back across, we are going diagonal. So this one right here will go diagonal. Just like this. I know that's kind of hard to see. Let's see if we can make it a little bit better. There we go, it's a little bit better. So these have to stay parallel, so this one will go diagonal right there. There we go. There we go. And this red one happens to be at the top, so it will go over, under, and it will go out at the bottom. Just like that. And then this one was at the bottom, so it will go over, under, and out at the top. Again, when we're doing a double and a twist, it can be a little bit tricky. So I'm having a little bit of a problem with it right now. Make sure that there's not a big twist in it. You don't want a big twist, and then you're going to pull it nice and tight. This one is, some people think that the twist is actually easier because it's the exact same thing every single time. So this one will always end up going to the top. This one will always end up going to the bottom. These will always be going in the same place. That might be a little bit easier for you. It's up to you to decide that. Now, this is what the double twist looks like on the side. It's still just like our double box, but it is going to be 2 twists side by side. Now, there are plenty of other more complicated things that I can show you, but you need to learn the basics first. So if you get confused, watch these videos again so that you know what to do.